Hi guys, it's Sandy with Crafty Stampco, and today I have an adorable card for you that I created from the Crafty Crew Kit, the January 2026 kit. This kit has pre-orders starting December 1st through the 15th and is due to start shipping on January 5th. If you see something in this kit or you want to make a card of your own with the sweet little Meadow, make sure you get your order in during that window because those stamp sets and possibly the paper won't be available for another 6 months to a year. All right, with that business taken care of, let's get started. Okay, I have my Meadow all stamped out and cut out and ready to color. I am using Copic markers and I am going to go ahead and start with her skin. So I am going to be using E000, E00, and E11. And when I do coloring, I like to lay down my lightest color first. And then I like to go back in and do the next shade up and then shade some more with my darkest. That's usually the color that I use the least of. Next, I'm going to start with her hair, and she has a lot of hair. So I like to break it down, and her hair is really easy to break down into sections. So I'm going to start with this front section first. Again, I'm using Copic markers, and I'm going to lay down my lightest color kind of as a base, and then I work from there to blend everything in. So the first color I'm putting down is E53, and then I will move into E13, then E15, and finish up with E37. And so while I do a very solid base of my lightest colors, when I go back with the next colors, I like to just flick in those colors just to kind of create the illusion of strands of hair, if that makes any sense at all. So I will do that, breaking down each section of her hair all the way until I'm done. Next, we're going to work on her little top, and I selected these pinkish colors because they blended in really, really well with the pattern papers. So the colors I am using are RV11, RV81, and RV83. I will also use that color combination on different patches of her little teddy bear, her little patchwork teddy bear that she's holding. Next, we're going to color her little shorts. Now, I didn't have a marker that I felt blended in really well with the pattern paper that came with the kit. So I am going to use BG70 and BG72. And what I'll do is I will just transfer some of that darker color off of the BG72 onto my BG70 and then just start shading and coloring in those shorts. That was the only way I could get a color that I liked. Again, I'm going to do her little shorts with that color combination, and then I'm going to go to her little bear and color in some of the patches on that also using the same color combination. For her little shoes, I just used a couple colors of the browns that I used in her hair just to get those colored in. They're pretty small, so you only need maybe one or two colors to get those shaded in. Now on her little teddy bear, I wasn't going to color in all of the patches with the blues and the pinks. So I did use a color combination of kind of an off-white to kind of break up those two colors. So the colors that I used for that were YR30, E41, and E50. And I just kind of randomly put in the white colors, and then I go back in with my pink and my bluish green combination just to finish up that little bear. For her little sewing machine, I wanted to use some neutral grays, so I'm going to start with a base coat of N1, shade with some N3, and then shade with some N5. To finish up her little machine, I'm going to just go back to that bluish green combination and the pink combination to go ahead and color in that little panel on the front of the sewing machine, the little buttons, and the little thread spool at the top. I used a die from my stash to make my background. So I cut that out of some of the pattern paper that comes with the Lovely as a Rose pattern collection. I went ahead and got that done. I placed kind of a woodish cardstock at the bottom of the card for her to stand on. And then I've got her placed on that in front of the quilt that she made hanging on the wall. I'll go ahead and pop those up with some little foam dots. And then the sentiment I have stamped and cut out, or stamped it on white cardstock and just cut it out, kind of putting some little, I don't know, I think those are called flag edges on the side of that banner just to kind of tie into the whole triangle quilty thing. I absolutely love the way this card turned out. Of course, I like to sew and I like to quilt, so the theming was just perfect for me. The sentiments also that come with the set are just perfect also if you're a quilter. Thank you so much for stopping by. Again, if you see anything from this video that you want, the pre-order window is December 1st through the 15th. Shipping on January 5th. Thanks again, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.